Have you ever been listening to a song and wondered how it can just get you? How it makes you feel happy or sad or just totally pumped up? Well, it's not magic. It's actually a language. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and demystify that language. Think of this as the ultimate roadmap to music theory. Let's get right into it.
So, let's start with a big question. What are the building blocks of your absolute favorite song? You know, the one you can't get out of your head? It might seem like this big, complicated mystery, but I promise you, by the end of this, you'll see it's all built from just a few simple, really powerful ingredients. So, let's start digging.
All right, first things first. Before we can even get to the cool stuff like notes and melodies, we have to start at the very, very beginning. We're talking about the absolute atoms of music, which is just sound itself. What's really wild is that every single sound you've ever heard is just a vibration. And every vibration has these three core qualities. You've got frequency, which is the pitch, you know, how high or low a note is. Then there's amplitude, which is just a fancy word for loudness. And finally, timbre. That's the good stuff. That's the unique texture that makes a guitar sound totally different from a piano, even if they're playing the exact same note.
So, once we start organizing all those different pitches from those vibrations, we get the fundamental alphabet of most music you hear. A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Yep, that's it. These 7 notes are the basic letters we're going to use to spell out, well, everything else.
Okay, so we've got our letters, but, you know, just like in language, a bunch of random letters don't really mean anything. The real power, the magic, happens when we start arranging them to create emotion. So let's see how that works. The very first way we organize notes is with something called a scale, and I absolutely love this analogy here. A scale is like a painter's palette. It's the specific set of colors, or in our case, notes, that a musician has chosen to use to paint the whole mood of a song.
So how do you pick which colors go on the palette? Well, believe it or not, there's a formula for it. To get that classic familiar do-re-mi sound, you just follow this simple pattern of whole and half steps. It's like a little secret code that works no matter which note you start on. This simple recipe is behind literally thousands of songs. And this right here shows you just how much that formula matters. If you just change that pattern of whole and half steps a tiny bit, you create a completely different emotional world. It's night and day. Major scales, they give us that bright, happy, triumphant feeling. But minor scales, that's your go-to for anything that sounds sad, serious, or dramatic.
So, here's the really important part. It's not just the notes themselves, it's the distance between the notes that creates the feeling. That distance has a name. It's called an interval. And honestly, intervals are like the DNA of music. They are the fundamental building block for both melody and harmony.
Okay, so if notes are our letters, then I think it's time we start making some words. And we do that by adding depth and harmony using chords. This is where music starts to feel really rich and full. So what is a chord? It's actually super simple. It's just 3 or more notes all played at the exact same time. So instead of hearing notes one by one, you hear them all together as one big sound. It's the difference between spelling out L-O-V-E and just saying the word love.
And you guessed it, just like with scales, there's a super simple recipe for building basic chords. You just pick a starting note, the root, and then you stack intervals of a third on top. It's like building with musical Legos. It's that easy.
Now get ready for this, because this slide right here basically unlocks the secret to hundreds, if not thousands of pop songs. So many hits use just these 4 chords, and each chord has a role to play. The I chord is like home base, where everything feels stable. The V chord builds up tension. It makes you want to go back home. The Vi chord throws in a little bit of sad emotion, and the I4 chord is like the scenic route that leads you back.
And this quote just sums it up perfectly. When you string these chords together, you get a chord progression. And that progression creates a story, a journey. It takes you away from that comfortable home base, and then at the end gives you that satisfying feeling of returning. It's all about tension and release.
Okay, so we've got our letters, the notes, we've got our words, the chords. Now it's time to put them together into actual sentences. And to do that, we need 2 more crucial ingredients. Rhythm, which is all about timing, and melody, which is the tune.
So, rhythm is all about time. The beat is the heartbeat of the song. It's that steady pulse you can't help but tap your foot to. And the tempo? That's just how fast or slow that heartbeat is pumping. Together, these 2 things create the groove that everything else sits on top of.
And what sits on top of that groove? The melody. The melody is the star of the show. It's the part you sing along with in the car, the tune that gets stuck in your head for days. It's the main voice of the entire song.
So what's the secret sauce that makes a melody so catchy? Well, it's usually a mix of these things. Great melodies tend to move in smooth steps, but then they'll throw in a big leap for drama. They repeat little ideas called motifs, so it sounds familiar. And they're often structured in phrases, almost like a conversation, with a question and an answer.
All right, this is it. We've gathered all of our building blocks. We have notes, scales, chords, rhythm, and melody. Now for the grand finale, putting it all together to build an actual song and tell a complete story.
Most songs you love probably follow a structure that looks a lot like this, and for a really good reason, it just works. It takes the listener on a journey. The intro sets the mood, the verses tell the story, and then bam, the chorus hits you with that big, catchy main idea. The bridge gives you a little change of scenery before the outro wraps everything up.
And this quote right here just brings it all home. Think about it. We started with a simple, invisible vibration in the air. And by applying the rules of this musical grammar, which is all theory really is, we can shape those vibrations into scales, chords, and melodies to create something that tells a powerful emotional story, often without needing a single word.
So there you have it. The mystery is solved. Those are the building blocks. The ingredients themselves are actually pretty simple, right? But the stories you can tell with them are absolutely infinite. So the only question left is, now that you know the ingredients, what story are you going to tell?